My name is Nora, and above all else, I am a mother. From the moment my daughter Lily was born, I have loved her with every part of my soul. She brought so much joy into our lives. Watching her grow, laugh, and become her own person has been the most precious journey for me. Now, she is 27 years old. She graduated from university with honors, found a respectable job, and began to build a life for herself. My husband and I were proud. So proud, in fact, that we bought her an apartment as a gift to support her independence and future. We always wanted her to be happy. As parents, we had dreams too, not only for ourselves, but for our only daughter. We imagined her wedding day, her smiling face walking down the aisle, and someday, hearing the sound of little feet in our home, grandchildren to laugh with, to hold, to love. These dreams were stitched quietly into our hearts over the years. Lily seemed to be living the life we had all hoped for. She had a good job, a lovely home, and so much potential. But one day, everything changed. I discovered something I never expected, something that shattered the peaceful image I had of her world. Lily was in a relationship with a married man. I felt a deep pain the moment I found out. My breath caught in my throat. My chest ached. It was not just shock. It was sorrow, confusion, and fear all wrapped into one. I didn't want to believe it. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I misunderstood. But it was true. I had no doubt. I sat alone for hours after discovering this truth, holding my head in my hands, wondering what I should do. My husband, Mark, didn't know, and I didn't have the heart to tell him. He loves Lily so much. She is his pride and joy. If he knew this secret, it would destroy the image he holds of her. He might grow cold. He might say something he regrets. So I stayed silent, for now. But my mind wouldn't stop racing. I kept asking myself, why? Why would my strong, intelligent, beautiful daughter fall for a man who was already committed to someone else? A man who went home each night to his wife, who lived two lives, one in the light and one in the shadows. Lily didn't need someone like that. She could have anyone, someone who would love her openly and completely. Someone who was truly free. I felt lost and helpless. Every night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my heart heavy. I thought about her childhood, how she used to hold my hand tightly as we walked together, how she would read stories to her, teddy bears, how she used to tell me her dreams. She wanted to be happy, to be loved deeply, to live a meaningful life. What had changed? I didn't want to stay quiet forever. As her mother, I knew I had to speak, even if it was hard. Even if it made her angry. I couldn't watch her walk into a life that would only bring her pain, so I gathered my courage. One evening, I sat down with her in the living room. My hands were trembling, my heart racing. I looked at her and said quietly, "Lily, I know your secret." She looked at me, startled, and in that moment, our world began to shift. Lily stared at me, frozen, her teacup still in her hand. She blinked slowly, trying to process what I had just said. "I know about him," I said again, gently but firmly. "The man you're seeing, he's married." For a moment, the room felt silent, like the world had stopped spinning. The clock ticked louder than usual, and I could hear the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Lily didn't deny it. She didn't lie. She just looked down, took a breath, and said, "It's my life, Mom. Those 4 words pierced through me like a knife. I had prepared myself for anger, maybe even tears, but her calm reply, so cold, so distant, broke my heart in a different way. I tried to steady myself, swallowing the ache in my throat. "I'm not trying to control your life," I said. "But I'm your mother. I love you. And I'm worried." She sighed and leaned back into the couch, as if preparing herself for a lecture. But I didn't want to scold her. I wanted to protect her. "Lily," I whispered, "he's not free. He belongs to someone else." She looked me in the eye, strong and stubborn. "He told me he loves me. He said he'll leave his wife." I closed my eyes for a moment, holding back tears. How many women had heard those same words? How many hearts had broken after believing them? "I've seen this before," I told her. "They make promises. They talk about leaving, but they never do." She stood up quickly, her voice rising. "You don't know him. You don't know what we have." I stayed seated, not wanting to match her energy. "You're right. I don't know him. But I know you. And I know what you deserve." She folded her arms tightly. "You think I'm stupid, don't you?" "No," I said, softly but clearly. "I think you're in love. And I think he's taking advantage of that." Her eyes flashed with anger. "You're so old-fashioned, Mom. Times have changed. People get divorced all the time. Maybe his wife doesn't even love him anymore." "But that's not the point," I said, standing now, trying to meet her at eye level. "You deserve a man who is free. A man who loves you without hiding. You. Without shame. Without lies." She looked away, and for a second I saw something. Hesitation, maybe even doubt. But then it vanished. "I don't want to talk about this anymore," she said sharply. "I'm not trying to fight with you, Lily," I pleaded. "I'm just trying to keep you from getting hurt." "Maybe I don't need your protection anymore," she shouted. Those words knocked the breath from my lungs. I had raised her, held her when she cried, supported her dreams. And now, she didn't want me. My voice shook as I replied, "Maybe not, but I'll always want to protect you, because I love you." She stood silent. I stepped back, tears building in my eyes. "If you continue this, and he stays married, I might have no choice but to tell his wife." Her face changed, shock, then rage. "How could you? That's not your business." "Maybe it's not," I said quietly, "but watching you fall into pain, that is my business." She stormed out of the room. The door slammed. I stood alone, heart broken, breath shallow. I sank onto the couch, holding my chest. She didn't understand. She was too blinded by love. And I was too full of fear. I didn't want to lose her. But I also couldn't stand by and do nothing. After Lily stormed out that day, the house felt colder, empty. The silence was heavy, like it carried the weight of everything we didn't say. I didn't tell my husband, Mark, what had happened. He sat reading the newspaper as usual, sipping his evening tea. He smiled and asked how Lily was doing, proud and content in his belief that everything in our daughter's life was perfect. I forced a small smile. "She's just busy these days." But inside, I was breaking. I held her secret in my heart like a stone, and it was heavy. Too heavy. Each night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what I could have done differently. Should I have spoken softer? Should I have waited? Or maybe I shouldn't have said anything at all. But deep down, I knew I couldn't keep quiet forever. I was her mother. My job was to protect her, even from herself. I found myself thinking about her childhood more often. The little girl who used to braid her doll's hair and run to me when she scraped her knee. She used to trust me with every secret, every dream. She used to laugh so freely. Where had that little girl gone? Now she was a woman, independent, strong-willed, and in love with a man who belonged to someone else. I spoke to my best friend, Sarah. She had known Lily since she was a baby. When I told her everything, I cried like a child. "She's making a mistake," I whispered through tears. "And I can't stop her." Sarah gently held my hand. "Nora, she's grown now. You raised her well. But sometimes, even the smartest people follow the wrong heart." "I don't want her to suffer," I said. "This man? He won't make her happy. He's still married. He's living 2 lives." "I know," Sarah said softly. "But Lily has to see it for herself. Sometimes pain is the only teacher." Her words stayed with me, even though they didn't bring comfort. I wanted to shield Lily from that pain. I wanted to carry it for her, but I couldn't. Days passed, then weeks. We spoke rarely. Short messages, quick calls. She kept her distance, and I didn't push, though every bone in my body wanted to. One evening, I gathered the courage to try again. I invited her for dinner. She said she had plans. I called her the next day. No answer. I sat in the living room with my hands folded, staring at the empty chair where she used to sit. I felt like I was losing her. Not just to this man, but to something else I couldn't name. Maybe it was pride, maybe pain, maybe love gone wrong. What hurt most was not knowing how this would end. Would she be left heartbroken and alone? Would she come back home in tears, or worse, would she never come back at all? I remembered how excited she used to be about love, how she once told me, "Mom, I want someone who chooses me every day, someone who's proud to love me." And now, she was waiting for a man who had chosen someone else. I whispered into the quiet air, "Please, Lily, don't waste your heart on someone who can't give you all of theirs." But she wasn't there to hear it, and I didn't know if she ever would. Weeks turned into months. Lily and I barely spoke. I tried calling her a few times, but she didn't answer. Once, I sent her a long message just to say I missed her. She replied with a simple, "I'm fine, Mom." That was all. I wanted to believe her, but I could feel, deep inside, that she wasn't fine. My husband, Mark, began to notice too. "She's always so busy these days," he said one evening, placing his book down. "We haven't seen her in weeks. Is everything all right?" I smiled weakly. "She's just working hard," I lied. But inside, I was aching to tell him. I wanted to share the burden, but I knew it would crush him. He had always placed Lily on a pedestal, his perfect daughter, the girl who could do no wrong. Telling him would not only hurt her, it would destroy the peaceful image he held so close. So, I stayed quiet, but the silence was breaking me. One evening, I couldn't hold it anymore. I sat at the kitchen table, alone, holding my phone in trembling hands. My mind was full of memories. Lily laughing at a silly cartoon, Lily hugging me after her school. Play. Lily beaming with joy when she got her first job. Where was that smile now? I took a deep breath and dialed her number. She answered, her voice quiet. Hello? Lily, I said softly. Can we talk? I'm busy, Mom, she replied. Quickly, please, I whispered. I miss you. There was a long pause, and then she said, Okay, I'll come tomorrow. The next day, she arrived in the evening. Her face looked tired, and her eyes had lost that bright spark. She sat at the table, and I made her favorite tea, chamomile, with honey. We sat in silence for a while. Then I said gently, I love you. And I'm worried about you. She sighed, her voice heavy. Mom, I'm fine. Why can't you just believe that? Because I can see the pain in your eyes, I said. She looked away. I don't want you to get hurt, Lily. This man, he's still with his wife. He loves me, she said quickly. You don't know him like I do. Maybe not, I replied. But if he truly loves you, why is he still living a double life? Why hasn't he left her? Lily didn't answer. Her fingers traced the edge of her teacup, her expression unreadable. You're strong. You're smart. You deserve someone who is completely yours, I said softly. Not someone who hides you in the shadows. She looked at me then, her eyes full of something I hadn't seen in a long time. Pain. Real, raw pain. I love him, Mom, she said. I can't help how I feel. I reached out and took her hand. Love should not hurt. Love should be kind and honest and whole. She pulled her hand away. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Please, I said, just think about your future, about what you truly deserve. She stood up slowly. I'm leaving. Don't call me again about this. I watched her walk out the door. My heart shattered again. I cried alone that night. I didn't know what else to do. I had tried everything. And now? I was afraid I had truly lost her. But deep inside, a mother's hope never dies. I prayed, quietly, that one day she would see the truth, that one day she would come back, not just to our home, but to herself. The days after Lily walked out felt longer than ever before. Each morning I waited by the phone. Each night I stared at the front door, hoping she might come back. But there was only silence. My husband, Mark, began to notice her absence more and more. Why hasn't she visited? He asked one afternoon. She never used to stay away. This long? I forced a smile, brushing it off with the same answer I always gave. She's just busy, that's all. But inside, the truth was eating me alive. I was carrying a secret too painful to share. I had lost my daughter to something I couldn't control. A man who never truly loved her, and a love that was never meant to be. Then, one evening, just as I had finished setting the dinner table for two, my phone rang. It was her. Mom, can I come over? She asked, her voice quiet and soft, like it hadn't been in a long time. I felt my heart swell with both hope and fear. Of course, sweetheart. Any time. When she arrived, I saw it in her eyes immediately. Something had changed. The fight in her was gone. She looked tired, her shoulders slumped, her face pale and bare. She wasn't wearing makeup. Her usual confidence wasn't there. She sat down slowly at the table, and I placed her favorite meal in front of her. Warm soup and soft bread, just the way she liked it as a child. We sat in silence for a while before she finally spoke. "He lied to me," she whispered. The words hit me like a wave, but I didn't say anything. I waited, letting her speak when she was ready. "He said he would leave his wife," she continued. "He said he loved me. But now he doesn't answer my calls. He's gone." She looked down at her hands, trembling slightly. Her voice cracked. "I thought he loved me. I really believed him." My heart broke for her. Not because I had been right, but because I saw my daughter hurting, and no words could make that pain go away. I reached across the table and held her hand gently. "I'm so sorry, my love." She nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I feel so foolish." I shook my head. "No, darling. You're not foolish. You're human. You wanted love. You believed someone's words. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you real." She leaned toward me, resting her head on my shoulder, just like she used to when she was little. I wrapped my arms around her and held her close. "I feel broken," she whispered. "You may feel broken now," I said softly, "but you will heal. I know you will. You're stronger than you think." She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. "What if no one ever loves me like that again?" "They will," I said gently. "But next time, it will be real. Next time, it will be honest. You will find someone who chooses only you, openly, proudly, completely." She didn't say anything more. She just sat with me, letting the silence comfort her. And in that moment, I felt a sense of peace return. For the first time in weeks, I saw my daughter not as someone lost, but as someone finding her way back. Back to herself. Back to me. Later, as I kissed her forehead and tucked a blanket around her shoulders, she whispered, "Thank you, Mom, for never giving up on me." And I smiled, holding back tears. "I will always be here," I said, "because a mother's love never ends."